to another episode of the Holistic Cannabis Show, where I am your hostess, Dr. Yolanda Henderson, and always joined by my wonderful co-host.
I ain't stressing tonight. Facebook, y'all killing me. Facebook, y'all killing me, man.
Who are you tonight?
Who am I today? I'm sober today. My name is Sobriety.
Okay, y'all, this is what sober looks like, so please. All right.
Today, my name is Sobriety.
Okay.
And I just want to let y'all know that I've been sober for the past 12 minutes.
Oh, okay.
58 seconds.
All right. All right, well, yeah, you know. All right, so y'all understand that he's sober, so he's going to do a great show today, right?
I don't know, man. Don't tell me what. Don't tell me what's live with a happy man and stuff that I've been reading.
Okay.
Don't tell it.
All right, so
You just finna see.
we have a wonderful topic today, and it includes the Delta 8 that you see, and the Delta 9 and hemp. All right, so hemp and the Atlanta Hemp, or the World Atlanta Hemp Festival that is going to take place on next weekend. We're going to talk about that. And Mr. Henderson is going to give us the options to watch the show and share them on your platforms.
All right. YouTube, you're going to go look for Manifest TV. Go look for the Holistic Cannabis Show. Going to be right there. Instagram, manifesttv.status. Go look for the Holistic Cannabis Show. We're going to be right there too. Manifesttv.status on Facebook. We there. Status Network, status_network_. That's going to be on Periscope and Twitter. All right. If you're on Fire Stick and Roku, we'll type in Status Network, look for Manifest TV. We're going to be at you. All right. Check this out. Want to call in? Got something to say? 470-251-4647. Whether it's good or bad, we still value opinions, conversation, and dialogue, okay? So, 470-251-4647.
That's right. Okay, everyone. So what's going on next week is the Atlanta World Hemp Festival, and we are going to be in the building. So if you have not gotten your tickets, please do so right away. All right, so this is next Saturday, and look at all those wonderful hemp sponsors. And of course, we are there, Atlanta, Georgia Academy of Cannabis Science, along with other industries in the hemp industry, and Peachtree Normal. Shouts out to everyone. Tickets are only $5 on pre-sale now, so there's going to be food provided by Fin and Feathers, Hibichi Fusions, and so there's just some wonderful, so shouts out to all those wonderful hemp vendors and everyone who is going to be present. I will be speaking on topics such as the cannabis as a better quality of life. And of course, I am along with Peachtree Normal. We'll be discussing the future of cannabis. So please come out and join us, show your support. If you are interested in learning more, please give us an inbox or a text to find out about how you can get tickets, or you may contact Miss Lucky over at Pink Plains. So please give her a call to be able to get your tickets, or go on the internet, Pink Plains, and be able to get those tickets now. All right, so more in the news. So this is our flyer for the Peachtree Normal and the new era of Georgia. So we're going to actually be talking about the future of cannabis. So if you guys come on out, join us on this Saturday and find out. We will be speaking at 4 p.m. So if you are there, I believe the event starts from, I believe it's around 11 a.m. in the morning, all the way to 1 a.m. the next morning. So we're going to actually have a great celebration in the hemp industry. So this is like the first big hemp event of the year. All right, so we just want to show up and show you all what we're working with. All right, so the Hemp Minority Alliance is presenting Black History Month, the Black Female Medical Cannabis Doctors, and we're the trailblazers in holistic healthcare and wellness mixer. And that is also Saturday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that is going to feature Miss Dr. Maisha Standifer. She's director over at the Morehouse for the health policy. And of course, myself, Dr. Yolanda Henderson from the Atlanta, Georgia Academy of Cannabis Science. All right, so for more information on that, you may contact the Minority Hemp Alliance. All right, and so in other news, we are going to dissect Senate bill, the bill that is going on here, right here where we are in the state of Georgia. All right, so Mr. Henderson, are you aware that they are trying to make Delta 8 illegal? They're trying to make it to where you got to be 21 in order to purchase Delta 8 products, which it is a fine line. Okay, so this bill is a bill to be enacted to amend Chapter 23 and Title 2 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated related to hemp farming, so as to provide for intent, to provide for the definitions, to provide for license and permit fees, surety bonds, and eligibility, to provide for and require retail consumable hemp permit establishment license and wholesale consumable hemp establishments licenses, to allow persons convicted of any misdemeanor or a felony not related to a state or federally controlled substance within 10 years of the applicant's date to grow and process industrial hemp, to provide for exemptions for criminal background checks, federal criminal history reports, and classifiable electronically recorded fingerprints upon permit and license renewals, to provide for compliance with applicable laws, to require package requirements, labeling, and certificates of analysis for hemp products or the COAs, to provide for ongoing reporting, to amend Chapter 12 and Title 16 of the Official Code of the Georgia annotated related to offenses against public health and morals, as to prohibit the purchase of, sale of, and the offering of samples of hemp products by or to any individual under the age of 21 years old, to provide for inspections, enforcements, penalties for violations, to provide for venue, to provide for rules and regulations, to provide for related matters, to provide for the effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. That's a lot. But as we see, this is supposed to be to help. It's supposed to be a moral bill. It's supposed to be able to help those who don't know how to use hemp. But unfortunately, the government does not know how to control and use hemp and to put hemp into perspective with those who need it and those who are using it as a alternative or as a weapon. And yes, I said weapon because some of these hemp products that are derived from hemp can be used uneducatedly, indirectly, to be harmful to the body. And as I say that, I want to make clarity that I don't condone anyone taking any substances that's going to be harmful for the body, especially for minors. So I want to make sure that morally I am in compliance with my morals, as well as the morals of those who are promoting this political bill to the public. So, for instance, the bill states that it wants to regulate the sale of cannabis and for people under 21 years of age. And this is hemp. So we're not talking about marijuana hemp. We're talking about the non-psychoactive hemp. And what we're talking about is derivatives of the hemp plant, such as your Delta 8s, your Delta 10s, and so forth. Those that are synthetically made, and they are pretty much, I hate to say it, not the hemp that we want to give out to our children, to the public, without verification and knowledge of this product. All right, so I can say that safety is a big priority when it comes to hemp and cannabis, and we always want to ensure, even as a doctor and a specialty in the field of medical cannabis, that we are providing correct knowledge and education even to the politicians who are enacting this bill. But before we get into more details, I do have a quick video that is going to determine and give you a another stance on how hemp can be misguided in using it, and Delta 8 being one of those targets that will be used in this bill right after this.
Seen a CBD explosion following the 2018 Farm Bill that legalized hemp production in all 50 states. But our investigative producer, Leslie Marcus, she reports on a legal loophole that's allowing a potentially dangerous cannabis product to flourish. Take a look.
It's called Weed Light or Diet Weed. Delta 8 is readily available at gas stations, smoke shops, and liquor stores. It's a completely unregulated market, and it could pose a new risk to your health. I picked up Delta 8 across the country and brought it right here to CannaSafe Labs, where we're going to test it and see what's really in these products that are marketed as legal weed, harmless alternatives. I found Delta 8 everywhere. Why is it so popular?
There was an overproduction of CBD in hemp. So therefore, the liquid gold that was CBD selling for thousands of dollars per liter, the prices plummeted.
CBD is legal. It comes from hemp.
Correct.
What is done to it to make it psychoactive?
Well, people are putting CBD through a process to convert it into Delta 8. The unfortunate part about that is there's other byproducts that are created during that conversion. So therefore, we're creating more unknowns that cannot be accounted for with current regulation.
But nobody has to test it before it's put on the market.
Precisely. We need the regulation to ensure the products are indeed safe. The biggest threat we see is misinformation. All these products are mislabeled to some extent. A lot of these products don't alert the people that they're intoxicating. Most of them even say CBD to make people feel as if they're safe. Products that have 20 plus milligrams of Delta 8 per piece.
Per piece?
Per piece. In California, the legal market is only 10. So you bring a first-time user into this market, you may want to call it THC light, but if you have 30 light beers, you may be in for a wild ride that night.
What if you go into this thinking this stuff isn't even psychoactive to begin with?
You can have a completely improper experience or a dangerous one.
A few years ago, we had a vaping crisis where illicit marijuana cartridges were laced with vitamin E acetate, a cutting agent. Do you have concern with these vapes?
I most certainly have concerns with cutting agents and adulterants being used. Some of these products, we saw different colors. We saw different indicators visually that would tell us that there's an inconsistent process, different agents used to create that oil panel that is in the vape card.
You test a lot of this stuff. In the past year, what's some of the worst things you found in Delta 8?
Not having proper storage conditions can lead to mold growing on the substance.
Who else is bringing you this stuff?
Parents. Parents find vape pens in their kids' backpacks. They find it in the trash can. They just want to know, is this safe?
Delta 8 is 18 and up. And cannabis, you can only buy a dispensary if you're 21 and up.
Correct, correct.
So a lot of high school kids, I can see, definitely getting into this stuff.
A lot of the brands you see in gas stations at 18 up places are geared towards kids. You'll see it look like cereals. You'll see certain names of it to attract to a younger generation.
I actually picked up some additional vape cartridges for you to test. I want to see what's in this, if there's any adulterants, pesticides.
Absolutely. We'll put them on our instruments and we'll let you know what's inside these vapes here soon.
So pretty soon we'll find out the truth about what's in this black market Delta 8.
All right, so y'all heard it here. The 18 and up. So if you have any questions, you can call in, and the question is, do you feel like Delta 8 products should be regulated or put a stamp on it, 18 and up or 21 and up? Which would you choose, 18 and up or 21 and up? And would you want it to be regulated? So what's the number, Mr. Henderson?
470-251-4647.
Okay. And the question I asked you earlier, go ahead and answer the question. Do you remember the question?
No takesies, backsies. Do I think that, because I didn't really forgot the question, but do I think that Delta 8 should be regulated? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Anything that's put out for public consumption, it needs to have some type of oversight because you allowing it for general consumption of the public. Period.
Okay. Even if it's derived from hemp.
I don't care what it's from.
Okay.
If it's
And
for public consumption, it needs to be checked out.
Okay, so an argument can be that Delta 8 is one of the products that are grown by farmers here in the state of Georgia. Okay, minority farmers everywhere, people who are growing this and they're making a living off of the Delta 8 products. And people are saying this is a legal loophole and that it is basically another form of Delta 9 and it should be regulated as such medical cannabis or altogether made recreational, which you still have to be a certain age to be able to purchase it. Go ahead and bring that photo back up. All right, so Delta 8, is it safe? It appears to be as safe as Delta 9. Well tolerated for most as long as used responsibly. It's supposed to be milder than Delta 9 but stronger than Delta 10. Some consider it to be safer because it is an overall milder effects. And then some says that watch out for irresponsible manufacturing and testing processes. With lack of the regulations for safety, you should research the Delta 8 brands that you are considering. Very, very, very important to do. All right, so with the World Atlanta Hemp Festival next week, there are going to be hemp products. A lot of them are going to be Delta 8 products that are going to be available for purchase, for sale. A lot of these products, I hate to say it, can be derived from places that don't regulate or package their products. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Henderson?
It ain't so much of it as being the Delta 8. At least I don't think that it's as much problem as it being Delta 8. So you ask, is that going to pose a problem for farmers? I don't think that the regulation is going to cause a problem for farmers as long as the certificate of analysis holds true and what you saying that you use to grow it is going to be in it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's all people really expect.
Yes.
For you to deliver a product that you say is that product.
Right.
The problem going to come with people that's bootlegging the product.
Right.
Just like anything else. You know what I'm saying? I remember back in the day, if you take prescription medications, it used to be that it wasn't a whole lot of stuff in there. You had the base, plus you had the little extra additives that was used to stretch the base, right? Back in the 70s and the 80s, if you took cocaine, you knew it wasn't nothing in there but basically coke. You know what I'm saying? And maybe a little bit of baking soda, and, you know.
Was you? We didn't ask all of that. No.
But I'm saying, now, if you're a cocaine user and you go out there and get some coke now, it might have some fentanyl in it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So back then, fentanyl was not a real thing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You didn't have people taking all these fentanyl-laced products.
Right.
Right? The same thing is going to eventually happen with the cannabis. You see what I'm saying? So regulation don't necessarily mean strangulation of growth in this situation. You know, it just means, hey man, we need oversight because of the potential for it to cause harm.
Right. And do you think, because I don't think Georgia's ready, with the lab testings that we are using to teach training on lab testing for hemp, and for the companies who are available to do the lab testing, it could cause another market. What do you think?
Well, like in the video was talking about how vitamin E acetone was added to the vapor oil. You see what I'm saying? Is that ingredient stamped on the outside of the cartridge? No, probably not. But me, I'm like this here. Anything that says delta anything, whether it's 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, sigma, theta, it all needs to be checked. You know what I'm saying? It all needs to be checked for accuracy. You know, y'all didn't catch that delta, sigma, theta plug right there, huh? It all needs to be checked, nonetheless. You know, so.
Right on, Mr. Henderson.
Oversight.
I do agree.
You all right over there?
I am, no, I'm choking on peppermint. No, but seriously, you're right, because what's in your product is basically going to be, if I'm going to purchase your products, right?
Now, if I'm purchasing your product with the intent for personal use, then I still need to know what's in it. Um, uh, but then how many people go and ask the people that they get their smokes from now, hey, what's in it? When you out at the festivals, you know what I'm saying, and you go down to the festivals and you see the vendors with their blended drinks, their infusions, how many people go up and say, oh yeah, what you got in here? Don't too many people do that. And if you go look at the containers ain't gonna have a list of ingredients.
Right.
I'm just saying. So I get that it's a two-way street. You know what I'm saying? Right now, the only thing that I can say is cannabis is in a very particular odd space. It's in a peculiar area to be in right now because the newness of it, because now the widespread, more general acceptance of cannabis in society.
Right.
So anything that's new, it's always gonna have a bunch of red tape. There's gonna be some trial and errors, but it's also gonna be room for manipulation.
Right.
So just be careful out there, man. Y'all need to know what y'all getting. That's all
Right.
I can tell you.
And I know
what
that
you're getting.
parents are particularly upset about it because the kids are overdosing. And I'm not talking about overdosing on death, because there's no real
Nobody
death.
dies from weed.
I mean, but for people to say they seen little green Martians, or for them to say that, that they are, looking at seeing people or whatever because they're hallucinating, because this is the effects of THC.
People saying the TVs turn on and all by themselves.
Right. And so THC, which is Delta 8 THC, which is like Delta 9 THC, has THC, which is a psychoactive ingredient that comes from the cannabinoid that comes from cannabis. All right. And so if you do not understand, Delta 8 is a hemp derivative, is also a cannabinoid, and I have a cannabinoid circle chart that is actually synthesized in the gut. So it does it naturally. So whenever it's done on the outside, guess what is considered? Synthetic. Is considered a synthetic cannabinoid that does the process the way that it's supposed to by the acidic gut juices, or what we call the pepsid, or the acid in your stomach. And so therefore it is not done the natural way. All right, so that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that. But if you can pull up that circle chart with the different cannabinoids, we can give you that there is an actual health benefit of Delta 8 and the consumable of the Delta 8 products. All right, so this is a little educational chart that I have that I give out to my students. And we see here that Delta 8 does relieve pain. So it is a health benefit, just like a Tylenol or aspirin that you can buy over the counter. All right. Now, do they have labels on the aspirin? Do they have a age requirement for getting an aspirin? Maybe, maybe not. In some states, maybe. And the state that we're in, I don't think so. But then when you go to THC, and when you're using THC is not legal here in the state of Georgia, because Delta 9 THC is considered medical. It is all derived from a medical standpoint, that THC does have its work on the cannabinoids, or the endocannabinoid system, which is the one receptor which works in the brain and spinal cord. So because of its a presence in the brain, it is going to be a psychoactive either way it go. All right, so whether it's a mild psychoactive or a hefty psychoactive, we have reports that people who take Delta 8 does have that psychoactive experience. Now, whether it's a synthetic or it's natural is the difference between if it's harmful, or is it going to just allow me to sleep? And I will talk about those synthetics. I do have some information on the different types of synthetics and why and where they came from. So I'll just educate you real quick about that. All right, in many cases, some synthetic cannabinoids are being sold as legal cannabis substitutes. Among the most critical aspects of these compounds are the following. They have been discovered in recent decades, mainly by scientific research laboratories, but also by anonymous chemists. They bind to CB1 receptors and produce psychoactive cannabinoid effects. There's frequently asked questions about synthetic drugs and who uses synthetic cannabinoids. All right, so other known synthetic cannabinoids are those there, and these have the nomenclature for the people who produce these synthetic cannabinoids that bind synthetically to those cannabinoid receptors in the brain and the spinal cord, as well as other places in the body. All right, CP, HU, Hebrew University, WIN, WIN, those John W. Hoffman, JWH, and so forth. All right, so those are actually colleges and different people who come up with these receptor sites that actually try to mimic natural cannabinoids. So these are synthetics, and we do talk about this in our courses. All right, so the next slide, please. And again, the nomenclature or the compounds that usually identify the acronym of these researchers I talked about, such as Hebrew University or HU, Charles Pfizer or CP, and so forth.
Okay.
All right, so synthetic cannabinoid physical effects are extremely high blood pressure or stroke range, dilated pupils and red eyes, glazed expression, inability to speak, rapid heart, possibly heart attacks, nausea and vomiting, and kidney failure. Consumers of synthetic cannabinoids reported similar effects to those produced by over-medicating of cannabis, such as relaxation, delusions, or thoughts that are disorganized or disconnected from reality, extreme anxiety, unjustified paranoia, and hallucinations. All right, so during the 1980s, the discovery of the CB1 and the CB2 receptors took place and their involvement in various diseases. This further encouraged the search for new cannabinoids in the hope of finding promising patented drugs that exceeded the therapeutic properties of the phytocannabinoids. However, just as many hoped to isolate their therapeutic effects from their psychoactive effects for medical use, others just were interested in their recreational effects. So they were able to isolate a compound of those receptors that will bind to the CB1 and the CB2 receptors and mimic the natural effects of the homegrown plant that was natural to everyone. And so there is where derivatives of these synthetic cannabinoids, such as your, spice that they sell at the gas station and so forth. And so now here we are with these Delta 8 products that are just as similar to these synthetic cannabinoids that are mimicking but causing harmful side effects, just like any other medication. And these kind of medications are what is coming forth in the cannabis industry that is typically not real cannabis, and it can cause harmful side effects and give cannabis a black eye. So for me, being a doctor, a naturopathic doctor, who like to go into the realness of certain things, especially when it comes to my medication or what I'm ingesting and putting in my body, such as the foods that we eat, your fruits, being that the organic fruit starts with the number 9, your inorganic fruit starts with the number 4. So when you go to the grocery store, you are able to decipher because they have a whole organic section, and then they have the alternatives. And so that's almost the difference between a Delta 8 and a regular Delta 9 product. You're getting inorganic versus organic cannabis. And we have to be careful because this stuff is out here now, and it's not just being put out here by, regular black markets. This is coming about from the whole market itself. And so I just want to be clear when it comes to any of it. If you're going to or ostracize one part of it, talk about the entire process of cannabis and how it should be homegrown, or regulated to the extent that it's organic cannabis and not synthetics. All right. So this is the history and the emergence of the synthetic cannabis, and I think we kind of went backwards. The synthesis of cannabinoids in laboratories was based on the structure of herbal cannabinoids and a large number of analogs produced by a group led by Roger Adams since 1941, and you can look that up, and later by the group of Raphael McCollum, and from there, countless investigations to continue to be carried out. So synthetic cannabinoids is everywhere, and Delta-8 can be one of those. All right, so we have a quick video that we're going to watch explaining more on Delta-8 and what to look for and how it's being processed right now after this.
And it's what they're made of that matters. Delta-8 is from hemp. Delta-9 is from marijuana. In our state, Delta-8 is legal. Delta-9 is not. So what's the difference? 2 Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe digs into it.
Getting high in Greensboro is a big business. There are at least 9 stores in the city dedicated to selling Delta-8, including Hemp House on West Market.
That's the good stuff.
Owner Waleed Issa is also a realtor. This is his side gig because
Delta-8 is very popular and it's still growing in popularity.
Issa says Delta-8 helped him recover from coronavirus.
I was miserable for a straight 2 weeks, nausea, and I was having a very tough time eating, drinking, anything.
In 12 days, he lost 20 pounds.
It was tough. It was a dark time for me, for sure.
Delta-8 gave him the munchies.
I was very thankful. I'm a type of person that really enjoys eating. I don't enjoy a lot of things. I don't. Like, I don't drink. I don't go out and party or anything. You know, I like food.
In North Carolina, Delta-8 THC from the hemp plant is legal. Delta-9 THC from marijuana plants, the traditional version of pot, is not. That's because of the 2018 Farm Bill signed by former President Donald Trump. It changed the list of Schedule I illegal drugs by removing hemp plants with less than 0.3% THC. To see how Delta-8 and Delta-9 compare, we found someone who lives in Colorado, where weed is legal.
THC Delta-8, THC Delta-9 are, think of them as cousins.
Stephen Bernard has tried both versions after being in the cannabis industry for 15 years. He's such a believer in Delta-8, he runs a Facebook group called Delta-8 Life, where you can track developments about Delta-8 from all across the country.
The experience with Delta-8 is a little more pain-numbing, kind of relaxing, more of a physical feeling than a mental feeling. With Delta-9, it's much more cerebral. Delta-9 is going to hit harder than Delta-8.
Like how much harder?
You know, depending on the person, 25 to 50%. You can walk around your house, you can cook, you can clean. I wouldn't, advise motor vehicles or anything. It's not as impairing.
Can it make you feel sick?
It depends on how your body reacts to it. Some people, it's just going to make them go to sleep. Some people are going to just, sit on the couch and eat all day. Some people are going to feel like they need to go to the emergency room.
Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist Aylin Hallett.
This is an image of a cannabinoid receptor on a neuron.
Discovered the part of the brain that's triggered by cannabis. Ever since then, she's been researching the drug's impact on the body to see how pharmaceutical companies could use it.
Both Delta-9 THC and Delta-8 THC work at that same receptor. The only difference is that the Delta-9 is a little bit more potent. That means you need to take less of that drug than you would take of Delta-8 to get exactly the same response.
She says Delta-8 and 9 is not even like comparing apples and oranges. It's more like a red apple versus a green apple. In fact, when you look at the molecular makeup of Delta-8 and Delta-9,
you would see a double bond going in one direction, and Delta-8 has the double bond going in another direction. But the rest of the molecule is absolutely identical.
The only real difference, one is for sale legally in the triad, the other could land you in jail. The Food and Drug Administration wants you to know that the FDA has not approved Delta-8 for any form of safe use. They do say side effects, though, appear to be rare, but there are some cases of stuff happening. Check it out. They've had reports of hallucinations, vomiting, tremors, anxiety, dizziness, confusion, even passing out. And the National Poison Control Center says last year, about 130 people had to be hospitalized in critical care because of Delta 8. Listen to this, one child even died. So it's really important to keep Delta 8 products out of reach of children and pets. Also, Delta 8 can still show up on a drug test, yeah it can, but there might be a legal loophole to keep you from getting fired for it. A legal expert explains on WFMYnews2.com.
All right, so you heard it here. It's the molecular structure, which is what I was trying to say earlier, that makes it different. One is synthetically made with a double bond on one side, and those bonds actually loses its bond in the process of degradation in the gut. So that's how the Delta 8 is actually processed in the body from Delta 9 naturally occurring in when you take Delta 9 products, especially at edible, because it goes through that acidic environment in the digestion process. So when you're eating cannabis edible, or if you're taking the oil, and by the way, politicians, we're going to talk about edibles and consumables and droplets that they have legal here in the state of Georgia for medical. An edible is also going in the mouth, such as your oils that's going in the mouth. So they all are considered a consumable because they're going in the mouth. They're all being processed in the digestion the same way. So why is it that you cannot get an edible at the dispensaries that they will be opening up here soon, any day now, hopefully next week, tomorrow? I don't know, but we need to hurry up and get those, because it's people like me, who are veterans or who have medical cannabis cards, that actually need this medicine. So what is the holdup? I have one of my students who was hired literally by True Leaf, and he told me that he had to be put on hold because of the condition of the process to open up the cannabis dispensary was placed on hold. In other news, Mr. Henderson, go ahead, because I'll be all day talking about this stuff. And they're just foolishness. It's just foolishness going on here in Georgia with this Delta 8, this Delta 9, this hemp, this non-hemp, this fake stuff, this real stuff. It's almost like my hair. You know, some days it's fake, some days it's real. I particularly like real hair because it's mine. But I buy fake hair because it's fake and it's cheap and it's easy.
Okay.
But we need to get back to the real and being able to grow our own cannabis. That's why I mentioned that. Go ahead and share your story about credit. I'm done.
Weirdos, man. Y'all some weirdos. Hey, man, check us out, man. www.nthcredit.net, man, for all your credit repair and restoration needs, man. If you're trying to get your credit score together, man, we got free consultations. You can give me a shout, 888-959-2093. All right, so what's the difference between secured and unsecured credit cards? I had somebody ask me that just yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, we did the capital funding and finance seminar at the Atlanta Academy of Cannabis Science.
You did wonderful.
Asked me what was the difference between secured credit and unsecured credit as an option to fund your cannabis business. Mm-hmm. And so if you go in the personal credit route, right, you want to fund it yourself, you don't want to use venture capitalists. You know, right now we still don't have safe banking, so you can't go to your bank and get a loan. Okay, so a person wants to use their personal credit and financial situation, personal scores. Okay, mm-hmm. So, but they're in the process of establishing their credit. What's the difference between secured and unsecured? I was asked. Well, basically, a secured card means that it's secured by your own monies. Mm-hmm. Unsecured means that it's secured by the bank's money. Mm-hmm. Pretty much that's the difference. Does one make your score go up faster than the other? In some circles, an unsecured card is thought to make it better because it has a direct relationship with a bank. They both do. Okay? Your card is going to be issued by a bank. You have to go into a bank to get a secure card. All right? How many secure cards does it take to raise your score? Right? It's something that's they're both revolving in nature. Right? You charge, then you pay. That's called revolving. Charge, use. Charge, use. You're going to get a statement every 30 days. It's supposed to report to all three bureaus. And if you with a credit card company that don't report to the bureaus, leave that credit card company and come on over to my website, www.nthcredit.net. I got plenty of them over there. I am also a certified credit card broker. All right, I'm trying to get into being a loan broker. All right, but real quick, the difference between the two: one, you're using your own money; the other, you're using the bank's money. How many trade lines do it take to effectively move your card? One.
One.
All right?
Okay.
It's how you use it, your payment history. Don't be late. Pay the bills on time. 5 of them on either side, revolving or secured. 5 of them definitely gonna move your score. All right.
All right.
Guess what? If you need a seasoned trade line, I'm selling trade lines too. 888-959-2093. www.nthcredit.net. Bam.
That's it. Bam. All right. Well, thank you for that. We always love to share information and financial information as well as the cannabis information. And so I do have a couple of photos to go through real quick and what's really happening in cannabis and in the news. So the Atlanta WorkSource, Georgia, we do have a wonderful new student who enrolled in the program to be able to work. And she received a new computer, laptop from the Atlanta workforce. And we are hiring, so we will be able to utilize you if you are 16 to 24 and you are homeless or either disadvantaged, you are looking for employment and you are between those ages. You can qualify and we can send you to different work sites. You can get trained in different fields of study such as hemp, the restaurant and retail management, construction, and more. So if you're interested and you're between those ages of 16 to 24, we would love to help you get employed. And this is a 2-month program and the pay is great and you will love, love, love the opportunity. All right, so more sad news. Live media showed that the celebrity, what's his name?
Tyrese, man, his mama passed away on Valentine's Day.
Yes,
all right.
that's
hey,
it.
man, R.I.P. You got my condolences, my guy.
Condolences. All right, so do you think the cannabis industry should be more or less regulated? A recent poll results might surprise you, so go and look that up. U.S. Senate Veterans Affairs Committee just advanced a bill directing the VA to conduct research evaluating the safety and efficacy of cannabis products for vets suffering from chronic pain and PTSD. Analysis shows that cannabis use associated with lower blood pressure levels, all right, lifetime heavy cannabinoids, or cannabis use was associated with decreased blood pressure, authors concluded. All right, in the poll, most Americans don't want additional regulations placed upon the cannabis industry. 45% of respondents said that marijuana industry should be less regulated than it is now. Then THC-dominant cannabis extract shows promise for symptoms related to Alzheimer's. All right, and then in the latest news, Virginia, Republican-led subcommittee again rejects marijuana sales legislation in party line vote. And then the State Policy Weekly update was on 2/14 or Valentine's Day. And then in normal, they said that the President Biden, what happened to those marijuana pardons you promised? So we're still waiting on that. And then in Texas, San Antonio voters to decide on marijuana depenalization ordinances. All right, so an action alert. Federal tell Congress to prioritize cannabis policy reform in 2023. And the federal also tell the White House to open pardon applications immediately. So we're still battling certain things that's going on here around the world as well as in the state of Georgia. So go ahead and do us a favor. Contact your local House of Representatives, your political parties in your area, and write them a letter. If you can't do anything right now, write a letter. Join Peachtree NORML. If you're in the state of Georgia, join Peachtree NORML for the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, so that you may be able to take place in getting those advocacy lessons or lawyers in your area to help you out with any legal activity in the medical or the cannabis, whether it's recreational or medical, and get some help in those areas. We do have a membership available, and in your state there is a local chapter for the NORML, National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, that help with getting your advocacy done. So if you don't know, go ahead and look those local chapters up. There's Texas chapters. They're in every state, basically. They're worldwide. All right? So thank you again for watching our show. Sorry it was a short show, but until next week, the same time, have a great day.